and welcome to this edition of the Indiana State Police Public Information Program. I'm your host, Sergeant Dave Burston, Public Information Officer for the Indiana State Police at the Indianapolis Post. For this edition of the program, we've done things a little bit differently. We've packed up the crew and we've been traveling around the state of Indiana, visiting each of the 5 areas that the Indiana State Police has divided the state into for our purposes. What we're doing is we're visiting the POP officers, P-O-P, and that stands for Problem-Oriented Policing. These are officers that are actively involved in bridging community concerns related to law enforcement. For our first visit, we're going to go to Waterloo, Indiana, which is in the northeastern part of the state, and we're going to be meeting Trooper Lance Garver and Sergeant Bob Townsend. What they have done is help the town of Waterloo create a recreational area for the youth that were involved in some other activities that were less productive. And now, with this recreational area, things are a lot better than what they were. So stay tuned and see what they've done.
You don't need algebra, geometry, and calculus to get this job. Now, if that doesn't convince you to take math courses, I don't know what will. Call NACME. We'll tell you what you need to do.
Hush, little baby, why do you cry? Will all our friends catch AIDS and die? Is there AIDS on the windowsill? Will it kill Humpty and Jack and Jill? What if Mother Goose goes too? Or even worse, she gives it to you.
If you don't talk with your kids about AIDS, who knows what they'll imagine? Our free booklet can help.
If you don't stop someone from driving drunk, who will? Do whatever it takes.
That was your driver's license. Car and your cash. Your best friend. Your freedom. Oh, and then there's you. Wear a safety belt and don't drink and drive. The police will nail you and getting busted bites.
After we received our training, the new POPs units were formed. After the new POPs units were formed, I set out in DeKalb County here and made contact with Jim Stallone of the Waterloo Police Department. Jim and I talked about the Crime Watch. He was a member of the Crime Watch at that time. And I went to the Crime Watch and they came up with some sort of a project they wanted to do to help the youth in their community. So we initiated a survey and went door to door, passed the surveys out. After they were tabulated, it found there was a lot of downtime for the youth here in Waterloo. With that information alone, we took what information we had and created what you see now as a Wildcat Youth Center here in Waterloo, Indiana. This is Marlene Sutton. She is our town clerk and treasurer and played an integral part of getting this where it is today. Marlene, why do you think this is such an important project that we've created here today?
Well, I feel it's an important thing to help the kids have something to do, somewhere to go that they can enjoy themselves, not feel any pressures. It's a clean place to be, it's a fun place to be, and they've had a great time here.
And it's supervised because you're always here.
I'm here a lot, but we have a lot of volunteers that have given their time, and they're here every day of the week but Sunday.
Pat, as the president of the Crime Watch, which you are here in Waterloo, why did the Crime Watch feel it was so important to have this youth center project?
We needed something for the children to do, to take them off the street, and we thought this would be a good idea. And at first we thought we would get latchkey children, so we opened at 3. Well, that didn't prove out right, so we opened at 4 now till 8 during the week, and we are getting children off of the streets. And they don't have to spend money a lot. They can come in here and play bumper pool. We have other games to play. We have free popcorn, and I think it there's a lot of children don't have anything else to do, so they come in and talk to us.
Steve, when I contacted you about this youth center coming up here, I immediately thought of you for providing the games here that we see in the game room. How important for you as a president of Stellar Industries is it to get involved in the youth-type activities here where the games are needed?
Okay, in this center here, we brought in quite a few pieces of equipment. We want to get back to the community, show the kids what's involved, also show the parents what the games are like. It's a good way to keep the parents and the kids activated and doing something together as a family.
And absolutely, and also a lot of these games you're actually splitting profit with the town here, so they're actually making some sort of money off these.
That's correct. All the game money in this place is split on a 50-50 basis to help support the youth center and give something back to the community.
Great, thanks, Steve. Mr. Cruz, how do you feel that this youth center in DeKalb County is going to impact the community and the area?
Well, I think it'll be a big plus because juvenile delinquency is one of our biggest problems today in the state of Indiana, and having kids out getting in trouble is costing us a lot of tax dollars, and I think the Waterloo Youth Center and places like this will help kids have a better place to go, a place they can come where they're not going to get in trouble.
Rob, when the problem-oriented policing unit came into effect up here in Area 2 and we wanted to break new ground right away and make a difference, we started this youth center project. What impact or feedback have you had from the department and the public about this particular project?
This project was one of the initial projects that we worked, and we've had a great success. We've had great feedback from the media in the area, from the command in our area, and from the public in general. This is a prime example of what a community can do when people get together and make a commitment to solve the problems that they have. There's basically one police officer involved, and then a lot of volunteers and a lot of public support from the community of Waterloo, and that's what makes it successful.
So you think definitely the program is a success?
Yes, it is. And this is just an example of what the people of Indiana can do when they get involved in their communities.
Thanks, Rob.
Hold on to dear life.
We were on vacation at Lake Tahoe.
And every precious smile.
I was driving home and I fell asleep. I remember just wondering when we were going to stop rolling. When we finally did, I said, where's McKay? And my husband said, he's in his car seat. He was safe.
Hold on to dear life.
Someone once said, we all come into this world alone, and we leave the same way. But in between, we have the chance to connect and help each other, to find ways you can do something to connect with the people in your community, called the Points of Light Foundation. Do something good. Feel something real. You are 100% unadulterated energy. You have no choice but movement. You aren't acted on. You are action. You have the power to make the world a better place. You already know how to do it. Volunteer now for the American Red Cross. Call your local chapter for details.
This is the 125th anniversary of Arbor Day, the tree planters' holiday. Every tree you plant cleans the air and leaves your mark on the earth. This year, the Arbor Day Foundation invites you to plant trees for America.
Hello and welcome back to the program. If you're just joining us, we are traveling around the state working with our POP officers, the problem-oriented policing. We just left Waterloo, Indiana, and hopefully you saw what they did with the recreational center. Now we are headed to the area of Bedford, which is Area 3 for the state police, where they have had an increasing problem with clandestine laboratories. These are places where they make illegal drugs, specifically methcathinone, and we're going to see what they've been doing there. So please stay tuned.
We initially received complaints from a number of people, the local troops, the local sheriff's department, the local police department, judicial officials, prosecutors, investigators gave us information. We received information from child welfare, information from the public at large of a large ongoing problem of clandestine labs in the Bedford area, which subsequently was methcathinone labs. With all that information in hand, we basically acted as a central repository for that information. put the information to good use and tried to get into the suspects' homes as quickly as possible through the means of search warrants, serving arrest warrants, serving any kind of legal paper, or any way that we could get in the house. A lot of times people were on probation and had already waived their Fourth Amendment rights, giving us the opportunity to go ahead and do a search without a search warrant. So the quickest way into the suspect's home is the route that we took. It was very successful. We had, I can't think of any suspect's house that we went into where we didn't take down a lab. We also had lists of precursors, which were ephedrine list, pseudoephedrine list, toluene list. And the longer we were in it, the more we expanded those lists. And that's where our suspects came from.
Okay, what we did after we formulated the list and the target list and all the supplies and precursors, we decided it was more than just the POPs units could handle by themselves. We needed to get as many people involved as possible to make it a smoother transition. So we decided to form, for lack of a better word, a task force. We got with the Lawrence County Probation, prosecutor's office. He was very excited about that. He went so far as to help get us an officer from the Bedford Police Department to join the task force. Along with the area POPs units, we got the undercover officers. There was a lot of things that POPs could not do that undercover could do, and a lot of things undercover guys could do that the POPs units couldn't do. So together we could basically cover all the bases and all the different angles to get into these homes. Especially after we made an arrest on a lab, it was very seldom not to have that person want to flip to give us other information on other labs to help. So it was great to have the undercover guys right there. So we used every possible angle we possibly could to get into homes. The information from the other departments was critical.
Approximately 6 to 8 months ago, I was introduced to Sergeant Tom McCord and Trooper Ken Miller. I was advised that the POPs program would be units going in our area, finding our problem areas, and then relating to the districts what our problem areas were. At first I was apprehensive about the program. I felt that we didn't need POPs telling us where our problems were, which I've been here 18 years at Bloomington Post. I know the problem areas. I didn't feel like I needed someone to come up and say, hey, you got a problem over here, when I already knew it. But my mind changed drastically when I found out that actually these guys were out there to do the good job and were on hands working with us, hand in hand, wasn't sitting in a car in air conditioning. They were actually on foot doing a good job trying to help us solve the crime problems in our area, which was, I was very surprised that the hands-on work worked out great. I would say that the last drug lab with Ed Lemons down in Trinity Springs, which is in Martin County, was a big result was from the POPs program, along with the undercover drug agents. But the POPs program was probably 50% of the success came from them, which changed my mind completely about the POPs program. It's very positive.
Darrell Bishop is angry and taking to the street again tonight to take it back from pushers and gangs and make it safe for his 4-year-old. Whose side are you on? Darrell is a mad dad, family men who work with local authorities to keep their neighborhoods safe. Not everyone has to take to the streets, but everyone can take a step to help kids. Call us. We're fighting for the children. Whose side are you on?
Can prevent forest fire.
And it's true. We know we can count on you to do what Smoky says.
Drown your campfires with water. Make sure it's totally wet. Then stir and drown again.
We know we can count on you to do what Smoky says.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
Hello and welcome back to the program. If you're just joining us, we're traveling around the state, visiting each of the POP locations, our problem-oriented policing locations, and speaking with the officers there. We just left Bedford, Indiana, where we saw what they were doing with the methadone laboratories at illegal drug places. And now we're on our way to Jeffersonville, Indiana, where the POP officers have been working hand in hand with local law enforcement personnel in areas and neighborhoods that have had particularly high drug problems. So let's see what they've been doing there.
Okay, here in Area 4 we've done a number of projects. The one that we're discussing here is in Jeffersonville. We started it in August of 1996 in response to a problem with a rise in violent crime in a community in Indiana that's part of a metropolitan area of Louisville, but it's still a small community. It's about 27,000 people, and so resources are limited in dealing with a problem that was seen as growing. In about 1991, crack cocaine became prevalent in the Louisville area and in the Jeffersonville area, especially in the public housing areas. We saw with that then a rise of violent crime. I came here in 1996, and I grew up in this community and could detect quite a change in the way things have been. We started a joint project with 6 members from Area 4 POPs, combined with 6 members of the Jeffersonville Police Department, and we started a saturation patrol strategy. And what we did, basically we were just effective in curtailing a lot of the criminal activity and all. We had a hiatus for a little while with pulling out of these areas and allowing our narcotics officers to go in, and they were very effective, and we had a number of arrests later on in the fall in a roundup from there. Since then, though, there's still been a rise in violent crime, a lot of it attributed to gang and crack dealing activity. There was a homicide in January that is yet unsolved, but the detectives in Jeffersonville Police Department are getting close to that, I believe. We've started, the state police has anyway, of more community-oriented policing strategy. In other words, getting out, doing a whole lot of foot patrols, a whole lot of community contacts, and trying to work in positive ways to bring about changes in the community and as far as taking a stance against crime.
We were developing a very, very bad crack program problem in the area. And so what we wound up doing is coordinating forces with my department, which was short of manpower, and at least 6 officers with the Indiana State Police Department, and we started a high visibility saturation program in the area. And because of that program, we were lucky in developing a rapport with the neighbors and the residents of the project areas, and wound up running the majority of the problem back into either Louisville or into other counties in the state. So much so that we got complaints from other departments because their problem increased. So the program was very, very successful.
And of course what we do is provide housing for low and moderate income people, and basically my responsibility is to provide decent, safe, and sanitary. And of course where you people come in is with the safe part of that equation. And from the housing authority standpoint, the fact that we have additional policemen in the area, a bigger police presence in the area, is really a big thing for us. Another thing is the community-oriented policing, problem-oriented policing, I think you all call it, is the fact that we are getting the police officer out into the neighborhood, and that does a number of things. It allows the police officer to establish a rapport with the residents, the people who populate that area. It also gives the police officer an opportunity to gain firsthand intelligence about what is actually going on in the area and who might be involved.
First of all, I live in the targeted area, in the Claysburg area in Jeffersonville, and we've had ongoing situations where drugs and illicit behavior has been a problem. One of the local officers, Joe Grant, has talked to me a number of times about some of the opportunities of approaching the problems as it relates to crime resolution within this particular area. Since that time, we've had the involvement of the state police in tandem with the Jeffersonville police to further intensify the pressure on the targeted group. The targeted group or the targeted area is actually in the housing projects of Northtown as well as Greenwood. The plus there is that we have greater pressure, a little more sophisticated manners of undercover detection, basically keeping the pressure on. The other situation is getting the community more involved. Previously we had a group called, not Brothers in the Right Direction, there was another acronym we had where we were attempting to get more of our citizens involved to take the step when it comes to prosecution to come forth with their evidence or whatever statements they have in order to further prosecute those individuals who have been implicated in those crimes.
So, your name's John, right?
Yeah.
And you said you still smoke pot once in a while?
Yep.
You remember the first time you tried it?
Pretty much.
How old were you?
12.
You ever move on to anything harder, like coke or acid or
Nah,
anything?
man, nothing like that. Not till I was 14.
We want to see our children succeed. But setting easy goals for our kids creates the toughest obstacle they'll ever face. Because succeeding in the real world isn't easy. Help the effort to raise standards in America's public schools. Call 1-800-96-PROMISE.
These are members of the Bentel family. On a Sunday in September, they went to church, and afterwards they met the driver of this truck on an Indiana highway. He hit their car head on. One major problem: none of them were wearing seatbelts. This is Michael, here's Megan, this is Cassidy, and Cheryl Bentel. I thought this would only happen to you, but this happened in my family.
Wearing a seatbelt in Indiana. Don't take it lightly.
Hello and welcome back to the program. If you're just joining us, we've been traveling around the state of Indiana working with our POP officers, problem-oriented policing. We just left the Jeffersonville area and we are now on our way up to Gary, Indiana, where you're going to meet two troopers that have been working with the local school officials with a mentoring program and also have been involved with youth in some of the area parks. Please stay tuned.
I talked with Sergeant King down at District 13, reference a mentoring program here at Horseman High School. I figured it would be the perfect thing to do, considering we started a community or problem-oriented policing program with the state police, is getting into the community and showing our presence there. Once I got to Horseman High School, I talked with Mrs. Reeves, Dean of Students, and Mrs. Tuggle, who's the actual coordinator for the host program. I met with the student that I was going to be helping, Ebony Price, and I helped her with her reading. We went over reading. I wasn't really a teacher, but kind of helped her along, and we went along and did tests, as well as helping her with whatever other problems that happened to come up, any social problems.
I liked it because it gave you the chance to read by yourself and understand more about what you read. And we read, he came once a week on Wednesday, and we read a story, and I tested over it. And I did well on most of it. And some of the stories I didn't understand, and he went over it with me, and I understood more.
I'm looking forward to mentoring Ebony again, unless she's improved so much that she's not going to need my help. But if she doesn't need my help, I'll be looking forward to mentoring another student next year.
Part of, again, what we do in the COPS area, one area up here north, is we work in the school systems as far as our mentorship program. Another thing that we also do is we try and get out into the communities themselves and interact with the youth and try and get them involved and to get input from them and try and somewhat be a role model, a positive role model for them and give them positive directions to go in their daily activities. This youth right here is Mac Hicks. He's one of the gentlemen that grew up in this environment here. I've been working with Mac now for about 4 years. as far as bringing them up through school and just kind of talking them through things and through situations that, in other words, would be hard times for them coming out of this urban environment that can sometimes be negative, and trying to give them some positive outlooks on life and better ways to go about his everyday activities.
Actually, I wish I had met Jerry about 8 years ago. A lot of things would have been different in my life, I believe, personally. A lot of the stuff I've been through, not having a father at home, you don't really have anybody to talk to on a male-to-male basis. And I really just, like he said, just met him about 4 years ago. And I think he's made a real positive impact in my life as far as the positivity goes. And what you can find in the neighborhood, you can't really find too much. And it's kind of weird, talking to the police like that, but it's cool, man, because you just got to get past that and just look at the man. And this is a very good man right here, and he's done a lot for me in the last 4 years.
Now we're on our way back to Indianapolis, and we're going to be visiting with Trooper Mike Rogers, who worked with the Carmel Clay Junior High to help develop a video to be used for driver's education. It's a continuation of what was originally called the End Result. This is now called the End Result 3 because it's the third version of a training tape to show youth the consequences of drinking and driving. Hope you enjoy it. Please stay tuned.
Realizing that there's a drunk driving problem in the state of Indiana and throughout the country, the End Result is a video that was published in about 1989. Was a little bit outdated. What happened with me was I came in contact with Jenny Davis, who's a teacher at Carmel Clay Junior High School, who also is a wife of one of our troopers. And I worked with several of the students in her classroom. What we did was we got the students together. I went through our fatal file of all the pictures that have occurred in Marion County and around the area, and the students picked out of those pictures which pictures would best suit the video. They picked music for the video. We put it together and developed a video called the End Result 3. Spent a great deal of time, and they've done a wonderful job with that. Hopefully this video can be used throughout the state. We're going to possibly send it to all the districts. It's going to be used in training, and also hopefully we'll go around to some of the schools and talk to the students and show them what can result from drunk driving problems, speak to some driver's ed classes, and educate the students.
Well, we certainly hope that you've enjoyed this edition of the Indiana State Police Public Information Program and what role the Indiana State Police has with problem-oriented policing. We hope you'll be sure to tune in with us next time to see what we have on tap for you. And between now and then, as you're driving around our great state, please remember to buckle up. The life you save may be your own or that of somebody you love. Till next time, take care. Bye-bye.